Welcome back, everyone, to the North American League Championship Series, and well, we're getting ourselves a third game. But let's talk about the second one before that happened, because Envy clawed their way back in. Honestly, Game 2 seemed like mostly domination the whole time.
Yeah, literally clawed their way back in with Lissandra for Ninja with the MVP, like a really good performance. And I do want to see, though, if CLG go back to their bread and butter, which is strong priority for Darshan's champion and a map playing mid laner for Huhi. Because if they lose this game, it will actually be the worst start for a defending champion for first 6 games in LCS history, and that would be 2-4. No other defending champ has finished their first 6 games with that poor of a record.
Yeah, the worst one was a Fnatic in 2014 at 3-3. Oh no, 50%! What a terrible start. And yeah, CLG not with a great run, of course, so far. We talked about Ninja. You mentioned him before that Lissandra was definitely insane. Yes, he was player of the game. It was between him and Laud, but it was basically Ninja having to make a lot of difficult decisions to go in and make the big plays to carry the team fights inside the base. I think he definitely deserved it. And as we mentioned, the other guy, Laud, definitely a good player. I think
5-1-8 on Lucian, right? Like, it was no joke. And he had a lot of good target prioritization in fights, really just assassinating Stixxay in a couple of key situations. And Laud has impressed me more than any of the newer players in the LCS for sure, because he's been around in the scene for like 4 or 5 years. And a lot of times when those players finally do make it in LCS, they look very mediocre. But Laud has definitely seemed like a standout player since he's made it in, at least early on in the split.
Definitely agree. I mean, there's players like Biofrost who have just been like hard carrying TSM, and Laud has definitely been an excellent player on Envy, and I think people really weren't expecting that. Like, okay, yeah, Seraph's good, and everyone else is like, okay, but honestly, he's definitely stellar. Coming into picks and bans right now, we are now seeing what these teams are up to, and it's CLG doing a lot more of the same.
Yeah, first 3 bans are basically the same team-specific bans we've seen, with the Jax being banned as well. Just speak a little bit more about Laud on Envy, though. Like, when you're looking at this Envy roster being put together, thinking, okay, how hard can Seraph and Ninja carry these guys?
Right.
But in actuality, what's happening is Laud is right there with them, carrying games, and I think that's kind of what's taken them from what people expect to be a middle to bottom tier team to potentially a top tier team, definitely middle tier. One of those two.
In my mind, they are a top tier team. They've played Immortals very close. They've beaten Liquid. They've beaten Apex. Phoenix One and Energy aren't doing too well right now as far as their wins go, but I mean, they are clearly going to be a playoff team if they keep playing this well, and maybe it gets a bit better from there. Final ban comes through as Team Envy bans away Rise, which means that Bard and Karma are left up. It also means the first big Trundle comes through as secure for Darshan.
I think this has worked out so well for CLG this far. I like the bans from both teams, actually. The Lissandra and the Rise coming in as the final bans for both CLG and Envy essentially ban out the champion that won the team the game,
right,
or was the most impactful in winning the team the game. And then as far as Darshan having the 1v1 lane priority over Seraph with the Trundle first pick, I think that locks it down for this matchup, especially with the Swain being banned.
It's then interesting to look at their ban choices and say, is Huhi's Azir better than Darshan's Trundle compared to the next one up? And that was the choice they went for, of course. They thought that was correct, and they go ahead and grab the best bot lane they pretty much can in League of Legends. That's going to be Karma Lucian.
Yeah, of course, though, Bard is still available. If CLG want to get that for Aphromoo later on in the draft, and CLG will also get their pick of the jungle, so I don't fault Envy for picking the Karma and the Lucian. They could also flex Karma to the mid lane if they really want to later on in the draft phase, and after Laud had that great Lucian game, it's smart for them to pick it again early.
Definitely agree. Trying to maybe rival Doublelift for number of Lucian games played. Can't believe Doubles that like 16 games in with only one that wasn't the same champion so far.
15 Lucian and I think 11 or 12 Lucian games in a row.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the stat on that. We're going to get it eventually, whether or not that's the most games in a row a player has played on the same champion in competitive play. I think it is, but I have to confirm.
10 is very large for consecutive champions here. We're going to see a couple things switched up. Nidalee was left on the table, and it doesn't matter. Counterlogic Gaming going to go back to the Kindred and also play even more backline action with the Caitlyn there. It will be safer for CLG's AD carry, but also means less engage tools they had before.
Yeah, they don't have the greatest engage tools there, but that is just perfect champions for CLG. I think, especially for the way Stixxay and Smithy have been playing, like those are their 2 best champions right now. So I think CLG really getting what they want in this draft so far.
Totally agree. It looks like a kind of standard Counterlogic Gaming composition. The question now is, Envy, what can you play? By the way, Swain this time around, it has been left up. That was banned by CLG every other... Oh, I'm so dumb. It was the first ban. I don't know why I keep doing this. I was like, wait, was Swain banned? No, it wasn't. I'm not seeing the icon. Just kidding. That's not there to bully out the top laner. Jet pointed at his monitor.
I mean, it'll be interesting, right, to see if Seraph has a pick that can take down the Trundle. Because
that's what I was going
previously he tried to pick the Lysandre to like, oh, I'll just out-TP and out-pressure early. That didn't work, and then they just picked the Trundle themselves, and that clearly worked. Rumble would be someone who like could do it. We've seen some Proto Belt Rumble in the past, and if he gets ahead of him, maybe he can run down the Trundle. I like the fact that they're mixing it up.
Okay, so a cool idea. We're seeing a bit more Rumble in the top lane recently here in North America. Seen it in other regions as well, and I think it's a very fun champion to watch and see potentially succeed. Seraph on the Rumble. We know Elise is going to be playing jungle here with Proxen. And yeah, maybe Rumble's a champion that holds up against Trundle pretty well. It's still weak to Pillar. He doesn't have any blinks or anything, so getting slowed down for a Kindred Chase is an option.
Yeah, Rumble just does such absurd amounts of damage that he would stand out to me as someone who might be able to do a Trundle. But it's obviously going to be dependent on how much farm and what items they have.
Yeah, he can't buy a Merlinomicon conveniently here. 500 mana is not exactly ideal in the build, so no access to Grievous Wounds for Ninja, who's going to be running Teleport and Flash most likely. Or sorry, to Seraph, I should say. And maybe something else changes with this one. Last picks for Counterlogic Gaming to come through, and he's got to quickly switch over to, yes, Twisted Fate plus the Bard. So there's,
I love it.
There's the global pressure you're asking for, Jat, and I think Huhi on TF is one of his very best.
This is exactly what I wanted CLG to do after game 2. You mentioned Twisted Fate at the end of the last game. I mentioned Bard as soon as it was unbanned. The Trundle first pick was perfect because it denied Seraph, and Smithy's on his best jungler. Like, this is very typical CLG.
It's almost a blind pick composition. Like, really, this is almost everything they would really want to get for themselves. The Azir and Ryze and Jax off the table, I understand, but it's still CLG able to play some very comfortable things.
And I think the fact that it's a blind pick composition, even though it is exactly CLG's bread and butter, puts them a little bit at risk, because technically Envy has been the most versatile team champion select-wise. Seraph is adding another unique champion to his list, and depending on the versatility of Envy, it's really going to get tested here, because this is CLG doing their stuff, and Envy has all the options to try and counterpick away.
Right, they got to counterpick 3 different roles here. They got to pick jungle later, top lane later, and mid lane later, as they move things around and actually realize, no, they actually want to put Karma in the mid lane anyway. So Ninja thinking that's going to be a good matchup for him, as the final pickup is going to be that Braum as a support after all. Makes their laning phase a little bit weaker, though I think Braum is not the worst into Bard.
Yeah, they're going to try and get backline access with Rumble Ultimate as the only thing, which I think is a little bit suspect, since both Kindred and Caitlyn can just jump out of it. I think it's going to be really tricky for Envy to find the right team fights, although their laning phase could potentially be very strong. That's going to be what they're going to have to go for.
Well, Karma's definitely a good Merlinomicon user, so I can see them having access to Grievous Wounds, is trying to play the DPS check game up against Trundle, but the only real tank is Braum, and Braum's not going to stand a Caitlyn and a Kindred for all that long, so we'll see what it ends up interacting as, but we are getting ourselves ready to go into this third game as the lineups get locked in. Seraph on the Rumble, Proxen, the Elise Ninja, flexing that Karma into the mid lane, but there's no big bruiser to keep alive. Maybe the AoE shields keep him up long enough. It's going to be interesting to watch how this plays out, definitely. Speeding
up the Rumble as he tries to run in, like gets ahead, could be like a really cool thing to watch. I love how the champ select in this series has evolved to Trundle being such an important pick, CLG just defaulting back to their stuff, and then Envy just trying to flex their versatility.
So we'll see how well the versatility goes then, because it's your last chance to weigh in on this series, because it's now up to the players. Hashtag CLG winner, hashtag NV win on Twitter, and it's up to CLG to salvage their record, currently 2-3, or for Envy to end week 3 tied for second with the likes of Immortals, just one match behind TSM. If they can take this game home, we are here for the climactic game 3, the last game of the week.
Yeah, we've had match of the week on Friday, but I feel like this is the match that will dictate the match of the week next week. Because if Envy wins, you got a 6-0 TSM up against a 5-1 Envy, or if CLG wins, you got a surging CLG up against Immortals. So regardless of the result of this game, I think both those are going to be hype matchups. But just to add a little bit more flavor to this one.
I agree. It does.
The winner gets match of the week.
Uh-oh, the flash. The look for the stun. Afro's the flash away, but look at this. He's right there. Oh. I would love to see Afro bait that a little bit longer, take the stun, have them walk into the brush. But now Gold Card is down. They go back into Huhi. Cocoon's going to land, and he's going to get stunned up and go down. What a catastrophic start for CLG, but lovely for Envy. First blood comes through, sadly, onto Braum.
Yeah, I think what we saw right there is why Aphromoo didn't bait it a little bit longer, because the level 1 on Envy is actually insane. Yes, they did start Cocoon on Proxim, but the fact that they have the Flame Spitter from Seraph and the Mantra Qs from Ninja, those things really hurt. So big start for Envy being able to pick up first blood on Huhi.
So Darshan making an interesting choice going Fervor on Trundle. That is a bit atypical. There's a chance he didn't change his masteries from when he played Aurelia. We almost always see Grasp on him. Because Trundle's not the same kind of attack speed user as, like, you know, a Trinity Force Fizz or an Aurelia would be. It's honestly very atypical.
Yeah, it's real interesting. Like, I could see it against something like a Maokai if you're going to be fighting him for a really long period of time.
And he may.
Grasp is just insane on Trundle, so it's very unlikely you'd think that to be Fervor. Well, no way of telling if he did it accidentally for now. It's not like he accidentally took wind speakers or something on Trundle, so it's not a total disaster. Fervor can still have usage if he can find extended duels with Seraph. It's going to be tough, though, because like Rumble can keep Trundle at bay with the harpoons over and over again, which is why I think it's a pretty good matchup, and it's going to make Fervor a lot less ideal.
When Envy don't realize they're on a 2v1 right now, Stixxay was able to get 5 CS here without missing anything. He got the entire first wave, and Afro's nowhere to be seen. Envy could have and should have heavily punished that and denied that first wave.
Yeah, I think the big reason they didn't do that is they respected the level 1 from the Bard and the assumption that he would be there.
Yeah.
Bard's level 1 is just so incredibly strong to support, but yeah, I agree, big missed opportunity from Envy playing it a little bit safe.
Now, to play to some of the weaknesses Envy has right now, Proxim did have to start Cocoon, which you normally wouldn't learn for a couple of levels, but look at the damage. Wow, Stixxay. I mean, having to flash away. As soon as Envy hit 2, they go right into that one.
Bard's got the level 1 power spike, Envy's got the level 2 power spike. Let's get it done. Nice job there, burning another Summoner spell from CLG. That's now a flashless lane for them.
And despite starting Cocoon, Proxim's actually up levels on Xmithie right now. Level 3 at least, the only 2, now just 3 on Kindred. So looks like that punishment wasn't too bad for Proxim with Cocoon Repel at level 1. Lands the stun through the minion. Nicely played.
Stixxay missed the follow-up, though, so they lose out on a little bit of harass.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun lane to watch, knowing that there's 3 burn flashes there. This is Ninja, though. Ooh, the laning power of Karma in the mid lane is actually really, really high.
He's able to hit both halves of the Q. Xmithie running through his jungle, though, taking everything he can. And via this route is definitely going to be hard farming quite a bit. A late take on the red buff, but has enough health that it's going to be really no problem for him. Keep running through the jungle.
Yeah, and he knows that Proxim's jungle is going to be a little bit slower since he knows he had to start Cocoon. Going to help Xmithie just stay a little bit overpaced on him.
Proxim running down for the scuttle real quick, though, and it is the one with the Kindred mark. The thing is, there's just not really a chance for Xmithie to come in time as long as he's able to smite, and he's going to get it, Proxim. Gets away from Xmithie, who is sad.
If Proxim had been a little slower killing that, he would have put himself in a really dangerous position because he would have been using his cooldowns on the Scuttle Crab and then kind of face checking to Xmithie, which is what Xmithie was waiting for. But to just kind of blindly run out into the river is also something Xmithie didn't want to do. And I don't believe he had vision of the Scuttle Crab take at there because he had just made it in the brush and Proxim's actually rather far distance away from it. So everything plays out as expected there.
Yeah. Xmithie does have 1 mark, though. I guess he got 1 on the top side here, so he's not exactly terrible off here. He can keep on moving forward. Looking at the 2-on-2 battling back and forth. Stixxay currently up 4 minions, and there's a few more on the field for Envy's duo, but looks like Counterlogic Gaming feeling pretty good about this 2-on-2. Over in the mid lane, he's down a little bit, and on the top side, Darshan -4. Oh, the flash Q is going to land. Afro gets his flash right back up, but look at the layered CC. He can't get away in time. A second kill coming through for Envy, and Ninja makes his way in for the root into the stun, and everybody's down here, and Counterlogic Gaming lose their duo.
Just like that, a 5-man gank. Never mind all the wards that CLG has in the rivers, because that's a double teleport gank. 5 minutes into the game, catches CLG completely off guard. We knew that Stixxay was already down a flash. Aphromoo gets chain stunned. before he can take his portal, and just a great gank there by Envy, all going down. And they're losing a little bit of pressure in those lanes, but I think the double kill is absolutely worth it.
Definitely is. So a couple of waves lost on the top side, a couple of waves lost to mid. They're actually staying to knock down bottom outer. The problem is it's before 6 or 7 minutes, so it's not taking a lot of damage from enemy champions, and CLG managed to keep the structure alive.
Yeah.
Seraph stayed to do that damage.
The double kill I like, the stick around I do not, because that gives Trundle a lot of farm in the top lane. But to watch this one more time, you can tell Aphromoo was being cute, trying to play around the side of the fight and get some harass off, but just instant flash, love it from Hackero. They get the stun because of Lucian. Proxen gets the cocoon there, and the Ninja had already teleport flashed in just to get the root onto Stixxay, and that allows the rest of the team to just kind of pile in. A really early gank there. So well executed.
Definitely is. You've got now some nice items on the lot. He's already got his serrated Dirk, boots 1, and some more potions. It was a late recall. He's just done it now because he was hitting the turret earlier. So he doesn't quite cultivate the same minion lead he might have had, and some of those will crash into the building. Darshan up 13 thanks to all the earlier shenanigans, but now recalls back with a Spectre's Cowl in boots. So he'll be in a much better spot up against Seraph, and if you actually just look at the money, Seraph is down in gold under Darshan, down in experience as well, because an assist doesn't pay for 3 minion waves.
Yeah, and Spectre's Cowl being completed by Darshan. It's got to feel pretty good, especially knowing that Seraph doesn't have teleport for a while, so the Equalizer wouldn't be able to be that game changer with a teleport for another good while.
Yep.
So despite the 3-kill advantage for Envy, we knew that Envy has to kind of play fast here. We don't think their composition scales incredibly well. It's always tricky to talk about the scaling of a Karma team because like those enabler type mid laners really are dependent on the scaling of your other champions. And Laud scales okay with Lucian, but you compare that to like Twisted Fate, Trundle, Kindred, Caitlyn, and Bard. I feel like all those champions scale very well. COD actually just kind of has to stick around until 40 minutes if they can keep the game close, and it's on Envy to make the big risks.
Oh, the gold cut's gonna land on Ninja, the slow, the red smite as well. Ninja is summonerless, so this could be enough damage to knock him down. They're trying. Another gold card into the everything else, and yes, that's picked up. Smithy tanks the aggro, runs right back out, and a beautiful kill for Counterlogic Gaming.
Yeah, really good gank. I love how Huhi's rushed the early cooldown boots as well to create a very big move speed difference on Ninja, so he can actually walk up to him and get a gold card as Smithy approaches. It makes the gank much more threatening. Then the cooldown reduction allows him to cycle to a second gold card during the gank, and it all works out for CLG.
Yeah, the cooldown is only 2 minutes, 15 seconds for that Ghost to be back up again. He's actually going to have it around the same time Ninja's flash is back up. It's actually faster by 15 seconds, so you can repeat the gank, but now Huhi under attack as here comes Seraph, equalizer Proxen there as well.
Great equalizer.
And he's got no sum, so all the damage gets layered in. The execute by Proxen, and another great dive by Envy, 4-1 in kills.
And Seraph making this rumble work, not necessarily by being a lane matchup bully against Darshan, because Darshan's got the Spectre's Cowl and is actually trying to freeze the lane, but by teleporting down and roaming down to the mid lane to make some big plays. 2 assists very early for Seraph. Still a pretty small goal lead. Now he's in a bit of trouble.
It could be a bit worse. His teleport is down. Look at the damage Darshan's got. Just deletes him, and well, there's part of the value of Fervor of Battle. He's doing a lot of damage per hit on that.
Yep.
Just chunks him down.
Totally intentional for Battle there. I mean, it absolutely could be, because Trundle will be doing so much damage with Fervor if he can stick on you for a long period of time. And yeah, CLG really trying to claw back after that great double kill bottom lane from Envy. It seems like the advantage has been erased.
And you can see right there, 14.2 to 14.4. Top lane turret taking plenty of damage now that early game bonus resists
now they're in
gone.
trouble.
Okay, teleport's coming in, but a match TP coming in for Huhi and everybody else. Lands only a red card on a Proxen. The red buff lets him run away and heal back up. He's going to be okay.
Yeah, it was enough, though. Twisted Fate ultimate there. Absolutely worth it. I think Darshan and Xfinity would have been in some trouble if Huhi didn't match. But he did, and that cooldown will still be coming back fairly quickly. No harm done.
No harm done. Blue buff going over to Huhi. He's going to keep his mana back up. He's going towards what looks like Rod of Ages here in this build. We'll eventually stack up and get more movement speed later on. So cooldowns, plenty of ultimates, plenty of ghosts and flashes up. That Ghost is back up. Ninja's flash nearly so. Basically right now. And we'll see what the next move ends up being now. A very close game. The bot lanes have, honestly, despite the extra kills that Envy had gotten, the first blood earlier and then also these 2 kills, Stixxay and Aphromoo up in minions.
Yeah.
Keeping the game close.
Caitlyn's still a very good laner. Stixxay very good. Getting that headshot after jumping away also keeps the Ras up, and it's, I mean, He's just with Berserker Greaves and Endurance Blades, so he's just keeping his distance very well, avoiding the stuns, avoiding the damage from Caitlyn, and avoiding the damage from Lucian, and farming out. Surprising their turret's been able to stay alive as well.
But yeah, Envy never got back down there. Speaking of which, though, here they come. Proxen and Ninja want in. There's a ward, but do they really even care? I don't think CLG can stand for this one. 3v4. Seraph, though, TP disadvantage under Darshan and can't stop the teleport.
Darshan would have to teleport in on a ward or something if they go for this dive, and even then it would be brutal.
They're gonna try. Bartleby catches some minions. They don't have the damage. The flash stun's gonna land, and Darshan does arrive, and here they go for the battle. Repel comes in, and Proxen's gonna get deleted. They make that play happen, and now here is Hui. It's a 5 versus 4. Gold card lands on Ninja, a great pillar on a Hakuho, but he shields up, blocks most of the damage, and they can't get much more done. A nice culling doing a lot of damage. Hui getting injured. CLG walking away with 1 for 0, and Seraph some alone time at the top lane.
Hui, a long distance runner there, doesn't have ultimate ghost down to the lane, but the teleport from Darshan just couldn't be better. Even though the Bard ultimate didn't catch anyone, it kept the turret kind of alive and maybe baited Envy to stick around a little bit too long. They easily pick up a kill, and another well-executed play by CLG. They're playing the map quite well.
Playing the TP advantage as well. The 5-on-4 on top of that one. Top lane turret only down to half. That alone time from Seraph let him get a little bit closer in gold, but he's still down 600 under Darshan. See where he runs right back in this one. Smithy gets the bottom side scuttle, gets his second stack finally. He's never quite managed to hunt the right target. And I believe he sent his mark over towards Seraph. Looking for the flash and onto Ninja, though. He wants in on this poor little Karma, and the equalizer coming across, and Hui's gonna ult 5 inches forward to land the kill. Now Smithy pops slams to fight to stay alive, but Hui's going to be dropped out by the Flame Spitter. Smithy trying to run away, but still gets dropped. It's a 2 for 0. Now make that 3 as Aphromoo has nowhere to go. Proxen lackadaisically landing the attack and saying, maybe Seraph gets it. Nah, I'll get it myself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they were trying to give it to Seraph at the end a little bit there, but Proxen was afraid of losing the kill, so he ends up just going for the kill secure. And they arrive at the right time to get that counter gank off. I feel like Hui, if he can't get the kill without ultimating, halfway across the screen, essentially, the distance of a flash, it's not worth having, and they end up overcommitting when he uses it right there. Smithy falls, it gives up 3 kills, and also the dragon. So that'll swing the game right back into Envy's favor.
Well, wow, these games have been so exciting. A lot of action, a lot of dives, and honestly, my favorite League of Legends to watch, where these teams are constantly looking for these plays, these little advantages, and these really nice moves, and now a Drake as well for Envy.
Yeah, watching this fight one more time. Ninjas push up, and Hui flashes the red card. Smithy was there for the gank, and Hui was a little impatient with locking the gold. That would have been great if it was gold, and they could have gotten the kill early, but then gets gold the second time around, but by that time, Seraph has arrived.
Smithy dodged his own heal. He walked away too fast.
Yeah, I think he was done for either way, and then Aphromoo was trying to come in to help, and he gets caught in the side of it as well, and kind of jump off your point. Yes, these have been very aggressive games. It feels like CLG is really trying to push the tempo, and Envy is a great reactive team, as well as being a team that's willing to push the tempo themselves with how Seraph and Ninja like to play the map, and that just leads to these very chaotic-looking games because teams are willing to take risks, and they're very good at catching each other in their own mistakes, too.
Yeah, they are. Well, try, brush, cleared out. CLG couldn't find a gank because it was trinket warded. They also won't play for the Rift Herald take. I think the 2 of them could have duoed it. Looks like no one's really trying to stop that part of the map. That objective maybe could have been snuck by Counter Logic Gaming. They don't go for it though. Darshan will be missing that buff for now. And instead it's now Envy holding this side of the map a bit stronger. Kind of strange to even pink ward that when you realize they just left right away and just kind of give away that 75 gold.
True.
But now top lane under fire. Bard and Twisted Fate coming around to survive, and Smithy not far away either. Don't go for the portal just yet. They maybe could look for the play. Don't land the stun. One more attack will do it. Down goes the turret, and the flash cocoon's going to land at a Hui. Why even defend if you weren't going to stop anything? And a kill goes through to lot. 8-4 to Envy.
To me, that feels like a mixed call from CLG. They had the Bard ultimate up, and you were thinking maybe they're going to try and pull another one of those moves, but Darshan didn't have teleport, and maybe they thought he did earlier on when they were making the approach. He didn't. Hui was late on responding, and once again, that's Envy being very quick to catch CLG in their mistakes. Instant flash cocoon gets the kill.
And now it's up to the turret. A quick shield by Karma gives them one more attack on this one, and they will be able to stay, tank the attacks, knock that one down. Darshan, again in a battle with Seraph, who doesn't land the best of all equalizers, taking 1 million damage and chunked out thanks to the team, and thanks to the damage output. Darshan crushing Seraph in the one-on-one. The one thing going well for CLG.
8 stacks of Fervor battle by the time he finished him off, getting a lot of damage off, and they stopped it.
Oh no, Ninja gets stunned up. He's almost dead for sure. Gold card across. He cannot help. That is big for CLG.
And more, it's a teleport from Darshan now.
The filler coming across, landing a slow, but Stixxay on the wrong side of this fight. There's the hit, there's the kill picked off. Proxen landing one back. 2 for 1 overall, still advantage CLG, but losing their AD carry. Rough stuff.
This game, man, so back and forth. Stixxay comes in at the wrong time at the very end of what was a great play by CLG, and they continue to try and push the turret.
And we're seeing, though, Hako trying to keep the turret alive, taking up some of the damage, and it will keep that structure standing. A bit of concrete left on it, bit of stone, but still pretty injured here. Envy, to talk about it all, 1,000 gold up. Still up that 1 turret, still up the 1 Drake buff.
Yeah, watching this one more time. Ninja is trying to actually teleport out, so they cancel the teleport. Like Smithy then closes in, and Prox and Lard aren't quick enough to cutting him off, but Stixxay trapped on one side, and then as the teleport comes in, he actually stutters, thinking he's going to be able to take the fight, but his team's not there to support him in time, and he just dies as Envy's on their retreat path.
Yeah. You guys are good at killing off a Caitlyn, and Stixxay 0-2-1. Not the best start to this game. Some of it's getting 5v2 to the bot lane, but some of it's still a couple of miscues. Envy looking to the mid lane now.
Definitely some great focus by Envy, and Laud with the Ghost Blade is going to make it even harder on Stixxay if he's ever close to him, because he can just get that move speed difference, run right at him. Nice push mid lane by Envy here, able to take a turret.
No defense by Counter Logic. Gaming means it's 4-2 in turrets now, and they can sweep away some more. That's cute and everything, but definite advantage CLG. Aggressive pink ward uses just to get rid of some of the vision.
Right. So just thinking about the way these teams scale, Envy's probably going to need to just continue to make plays, right? They're up 1,500 gold, but their kill distribution isn't great. They have 5 kills on Proxen, and that's going to scale worse than the others, even in the late game, whereas 3 kills on a Darshan,
right?
Especially with how he's been able to solo kill Seraph for 2 of them, makes things very scary.
Well, now Seraph can protobelt over some pillars, so maybe it's a bit better for him. He takes that one out. Maybe it does, but it's not been easy for the poor guy. Equal level, gold-wise, he's actually only down 600, but you see him fight one-on-one, and it's not even close. And it's a matchup that Seraph wanted after seeing all of Champion select. Rift Herald will not be going down. Looks like that's going to be stopped by the mere glimpse of Envy on that side of the map.
Yeah. Envy waiting for Seraph to get a good equalizer off in the team fight, because he's had some really good equalizers in ganks. And I wonder if he's going to be able to lock down CLG and catch the backline. It could be very good for zoning off damage. Orbit has continued these sieges in the mid lane because of how far ahead Laud is, and Ninja on a mid-game karma, even though he's died a few times, is still a really good enabler.
Definitely is the case right now. And yeah, Laud pops the Yomos, has the bonus attack speed, plenty of attack damage, and chunk, down goes parts of the building. Chipping it off with little piercing beams of flight. Blood once again gets priority to knock down the mid lane right in the face of CLG. Like, they're on the screen with him, and he's like, yeah, I can ignore you and knock these minions down. I know you can't fight me right now. Goes in for Stixxay, gets even more damage onto him. Laud's pretty untouchable, 2-0-3.
Yeah, definitely in a position where he's going to have to carry. We did talk about the game, how their team is more than just Ninja and Seraph. Laud has been stepping up in a big way. He would have such a great KDA if he didn't have that game against Ray where he died like 1 billion times. Because he still has one of the highest KDAs for AD carries anyone else he has with that game.
Half of all deaths were to Jarvan in the 4th. Now Darshan looking to fight Ninja, but this time around you can see way better kiting tools on Karma, way better than Rumble would be at that. But here we see CLG making a nice little play.
This is sneaky.
Rift Scuttle cannot see into the pit, and if I check the vision myself, this is not spotted at all. So Smithy will take this one down quite cleanly. Mountain Drake for CLG, so if they ever are able to play aggressively, this will matter, but only if CLG can play offense does this Drake even mean anything.
I think it means the world in these close games, especially with Trundle being a split pusher who's trying to take turrets down, and also how if Darshan ever gets 2 people to respond to him, which is likely since Seraph can't solo him, Ninja can't solo him, it just makes the Baron rush that much more threatening since they already have Kindred, which is the fast Baron taker. I think Mountain Drake's actually potentially the best Drake CLG could have had in this game.
Interesting. Well, we'll see if it pays off for them then, if they can knock down some major objectives and maybe a Baron Nash for the next Drake. 20 minutes in, Baron has spawned now. It looks like no one was able to take Rift Herald, I believe. Yeah. A minion Rift Herald has slain the Rift Herald, according to spectator chat, so...
We did it.
Yep.
Recursion.
Do you know the call-out for that's actually Gray, by the way? The team it's on is the Gray team.
Interesting.
Yeah. So FYI.
No strong feelings one way or the other.
Nope. Absence of color. So 3,000 nearly the lead for Envy. They have equalized the Drakes, at least CLG, but no, Drake won't mean anything less. They can find an objective. At least Envy can rotate a bit faster. Maybe that'll matter something. Morellonomicon will be the second item out of Ninja to cut healing at some points here, and Black Cleaver now done for Lod. So that is the Lucian power spike, and he's actually a great communicator on the team. He's telling this to his squad, saying, hey, let's fight around me.
Yeah,
I'm
there it
Fuse.
is.
And Smithy is anything but that. Barely survives. Ignite's still on him. Will not take the heal. He keeps jumping out of his own ultimate. Dies to the Ignite from Hakuo. Stun hits too, but it doesn't mean anything. Look at how much damage Envy can do. Hakuo is going to live. The minions are almost gone, so they've got to run away. And now Bard ulti catches nobody, actually. Only their own turret. Proxen gets away. He's not going to get hit by the trap because Elise can walk while still in the air a little bit.
Yep, nice job by Lara. Poor job by Seraph. Darshan, though, trying to take the turret on the other side of Seraph TPs.
And that means a potential TP outplay.
Oh,
Hakuo is still dangerously low. This could be a big fight for CLG. They're going for it right now. The TP's coming around, and it's Trundle running down the map.
Darshan didn't find the greatest TP location, but Twisted Fate is on the flank as well. This is going to be a very long chase. It's very important that Envy stay together because they have a big lead on Bard, and CLG doesn't want to walk in.
They're trying to find the play that forces the flash out of Stixay, trying to navigate the situation. Now on to Aftermoon, down below half HP.
Darshan made it.
Flashes away. Darshan is here. Where's he going to go? It's on to Stixay. The damage from Proxen, and he's going to take him out. The burn isn't enough. It's not. It's Stixay staying alive. Proxen looking for a little bit more. Puts a Cocoon over the wall. That is who he getting dropped and popped. Ninja takes him out 11-6, and Seraph has made it in. He got the kill to Stixay. Now he's on Darshan. A little bit of damage there. 4,000 gold lead and a 2-member up for Envy, but now Lot has to deal with a very large troll. The raid boss is just kited out and taken down. More gold coming in. Stixay killed off as well, and CLG keep walking in, saying, please, take more gold, take more kills, have more fantasy points, and Envy take the ace.
And Envy never gave up on the play. They get the ace as CLG tried to push too far for that one. Seraph, who had initially teleported to the top lane turret, ran all the way down the map just to make it because he knew that fight was gonna last a while. And Envy did a great job staying together, communicating, and outplaying a CLG team who has been together for over a year here. Watching this again, Law does step on a trap to get a little low. And CLG clearly want to pull this play off. They have the Twisted Fate ultimate up for a while. They take a conservative teleport location, and this is the push-pull. Envy is together, whereas CLG isn't incredibly close. So as long as Envy stays together and never fights CLG head-on, they can stay ahead of them. So as Hui is arriving, Haku goes really hard on a Stixay, and that keeps CLG spread out. Whereas Envy stays together the whole time, and then Darshan comes in with the pillar, but because Proxen puts so much threat on a Stixay, everyone on CLG has to run over that way instead of trying to get the kills on the Lot and Ninja. So now CLG is still stuck together, but this time they're low, and because this route has taken so long, Seraph was able to come down, and the replay is also so long that the game is going to keep going.
And it's Lod trying to keep his teammate alive. Smithy forced to once again lambs respite and duel with Proxy. Can he jump the wall properly? Can he make the fight happen? No, he cannot. Unstoppable 7-1-7 in the jungle. A huge Elise and a catch on a Darshan. There should be 2 stuns chained up. The Ignite is on. Lod on a killing spree, 3-0-8, and now Baron's in their sights.
Yeah, and they are using their gold lead beautifully right now. They move in for vision. They don't give CLG time to prep the minion waves and get their advantage, and they immediately go in for a kill. And yeah, Hui's going to get a turret on the backside, but this Baron is so critical for Envy to try and push their advantage.
It looks like it's going to be theirs, and that gold lead is now 7,000 while also wearing the Baron buff. This is so big for Envy to add another name to that hit list, and it looks like this could be another team falling to the newcomers in the North American LCS. Okay, a couple turrets were knocked down, a blue buff stolen by Huhi, but this is always turned around by Envy.
Yeah, Proxen gets a stun onto Xmithy early on, and it looks like CLG would have the advantage, but then Laud pops his Ghost Blade and just unleashes onto Xmithy, who immediately has to pop his ultimate. And whether or not he sticks around for the heal or not, he's going to be dead in that situation. And then Hakuho also runs down the bottom. Great job to knock Darshan up first, then get the stun on him second as Laud is able to arrive. And chain kills allow them to go for Baron.
And I gotta give props to Envy because this is 2 plays in a row where they were communicating sort of cross-regionally in a way. The old replay that was like a minute and a half long, Ninja buffed up Hakuho with a shield so he could get into range and force like they flashed earlier. And that prior one was Proxen and Laud playing together, turning onto Smithy at the same time. And again, these are the Korean players talking to the American players, and, and the coordination's actually working. And so many times we see these sort of half import teams look like they're just playing dynamic queue.
Exactly, and
That's
sometimes the play styles just click, and everyone has the same idea of what to do. And so far in this game, that seems like what's happening for Envy as they play the team fights. With the Infernal Drake up, they know they have the Baron buff, and they're looking to push hard in the CLG because they know in the back of their head this game's kind of on a timer. Zoning, Equalizer, might be trouble though.
Not the best one because Bartolti catches a couple, Proxy needs a trap as well. Low health bars now on Envy. Cullen clears some of the minion wave away, but there's no minions left. They stay to hit the turret down, and they will take it. That is a turret picked up. Envy don't lose any members. They walk away. Dragon is available. It's Infernal Drake. And Envy head over.
Yeah, CLG recalling to get some help in Smithy. Envy doesn't want to get caught in a bad fight with a bunch of people with half health, but they're going to try and use these Baron-empowered recalls to still get the Drake. And I think they can, actually. With the way CLG is pathing out of base, this could very well be a game-deciding fight if CLG decided to try and stop it, although I don't think they will, based off of how badly they've been losing these fights in the mid-game.
Yeah, still a minute left on Baron buff, plus a 9,000 gold lead. Teleport up on Seraph, holds the top lane. You can see Xmithy and Fuki on the wrong side of the map, and that will be CLG forfeiting this objective. Envy now getting bonus stats, and a great one to pick up here. Lots of ability power and attack damage added to these guys. Just a ton of raw AD on lot, adds a Bloodthirster to his build. We're relying on just the Merlinamicon for Karma and doesn't segue his build to add Executioner's Calling. Oh, the Flash Cocoon's gonna go, but a nice flash away. Huhi's gonna stay alive with a shorter cooldown to boot on that.
Yeah, Huhi's flash will come up sooner, but they still get the flash out for the time being. Remember, the backline access for Envy isn't that great, so they really have to just cut through the front line, which they can do right now, with how strong they are.
Another Equalizer pushing Huhi away. Huzonia's on top of the flames, gonna tank a Q, but still forced to run away, and the Inhibitor's gone as well. A little bit left on this Baron buff, and Envy walk away cleanly.
Yeah, Darshan would really need to get a Rand wins if he wants to be able to walk up to Laud, because right now nothing is stopping the Karma speeded up Lucian with a very potent item build at this stage in the game.
Another empowered recall. Envy resetting more often than...
No, they're just going back to base.
They're just going to reset. They're just going to reset.
All they're gonna do.
Go back out into the lanes. Teleports have been preserved. Ninja and Seraph both have theirs. Only missing 2 ultimates. Laud's back up soon. Seraph not far away either. And though it is unpopular to buy cooldown reduction on a Rumble because you're still gated by your heat, that 10 CDR helps him get his ulti back up a little bit sooner.
Yep.
That sometimes matters a bit.
Very true. He's also close to level 16. One more wave of minions will probably get him there. Leandry's completed as well as Rylai's, so that's to me about as strong as Rumble gets in the game. Zonia's would be the one other thing he'd be able to get, but he's gone Proto Belt instead. I feel like Ninja's at a very powerful point. Like, they're really all power spiked, like, right now.
Yeah.
So them keeping the pressure up is super important, because if Darshan can get 3 or 4 tank items in there, and if Huhi can get to Lichbane and Deathcap, and Stixxay can get to late game, CLG still has better team fight team than Envy. But Envy with the 9,000 gold lead right now, and very important item thresholds being reached, they're going to look to push in and make something happen.
It is unlikely Envy fails to close the game out, but if they do, this would be a very good stall for CLG. Looking now at the top lane inhibitor turret, CLG needs to start holding parts of their base. You're seeing Darshan actually have priority over Seraph. Despite the fact that Darshan is 2 levels down, he is keeping that lane pressured, and a pillar can stop a teleport, so keeping Seraph out of the fight could be incredibly important for the CLG top laner. There's 4 on 4, maybe a little bit better. Laud goes in, 2 attacks in the turret, and it's going to be more damage being dealt over and over. It's losing HP, down to half now.
No Mikhails yet, no QSS on Laud, so if Aphromoo lands the right Tempered Fate and Huhi can get a good gold card, like, there's still a chance that CLG would win this fight, knowing that Rumble may not be involved in this fight. Really curious that Darshan's actually going back to base right now, because I feel like the 4v4 is way better for CLG than the potential 5v5.
Gets poked out, despite the blue buff takes it away, but now Envy have a bit of priority. A stun on Hakuho means almost nothing. Bartledy catches 3, and here's the teleport in for Seraph. Gold card means nothing for Huhi, a bit of damage, but they cut out Stixxay. He's gone. CLG have no AD carry anymore. Smithy kited back, and it's Darshan teleporting into the fight, trying to do a little bit of something. Lambda's bite is in, low health bars on Envy, but it does not mean much of anything. It only heals the enemy members, and look at this damage output coming through. Darshan is dead, CLG missing 2, and they could close out some more of this base, but the health bars are low. 5v3, most of them heavily injured. Ninja wants in, finds a bit of poke. A lot of healing off of minions. Gold card comes in, a lot of damage onto Seraph's Rumble. Lower and lower his health bar is getting. One Nexus turret gone. Gold card hits a cannon minion. Cards hit Lod one more time.
Play by Envy right here. 10 seconds on Stixxay, but Super Minion is here, and Envy's gonna keep trying to go.
Almost dead. One more hit. Gets a big shield though from the Karma, and now the play for the Nexus. This is now that CLG must go in for the Rumble. They get one, but Smithy trades back down. Huhi fighting Proxen. Stixxay's in. They're gonna get everybody just in time. No, he got it, and that's the Nexus, the series, the match, and second place for Envy.
In the nick of time for Envy, they finish off the Nexus. They learned from yesterday. Everyone just hit the Nexus, because in the Immortals game, they failed to do so, and they couldn't win in that situation. So practice makes perfect for them.
Blank stares a little bit by CLG as they fall to 2-4, the worst record we've ever seen from a defending champion this early into the LCS. But Envy can only be happy.
Absolutely. I think Envy, this was the week where they had to prove themselves, and even though they fell to Immortals, taking down the 2-time defending champions, at least proves that they are going to compete for those top spots.
Yes.
And to talk about CLG a little bit with those blank stares, like this was still a game where they were having the chance of turning it around if they could just get to late game. And I think this loss is worse than some of the other ones because this was their bread and butter, right? Mm-hmm. This might signal to them that they need to now fully adapt and maybe change their style because they can't continue on this path with the 2-4 start.
They got out team fought. That was most of it. Like, you look at some of the sort of strategic choices made, and I can't really complain about any of them. It's not like they were too passive or even in some ways too aggressive, really. Felt like they had made pretty good decisions, but Envy were just better at fighting than them. You had Proxen going 7-2-9, a great Elise game. You had Lod still with very few deaths, 5-1-9 on him. And even though Envy, theoretically in the end game, they could get outscaled, it didn't seem to matter. A 31-minute closure. A great game.
I mean, they are the most flexible champion select team we have in the NALCS.
I agree.
And they are also the most likely to pull out flex picks. Like when they pick Karma, pretty much everyone else, you're still thinking it's going support, but they played it multiple times in the mid lane now. They've also moved Trundle down to the support role. They've also played Lissandra in both lanes. Like these guys just switch everywhere. And it makes it really difficult to play against him because they, for whatever reason, have this like gift to all be on the same page with all the different champions and all the different looks they give, which has a bunch of different play styles on top of it as well. So I think it's really difficult to prepare to play against Envy, and it gives them a very high ceiling if they can continue to play this way.
It really does. The roof is nearly blown off here. To contrast them with CLG, where we're like, yeah, they play their own style, but at any one time, CLG has one sort of set of ways they play League of Legends, and it changes over time. But Envy's actually juggling like 3 or 4 different looks here, whether it's the hard engage Lissandra or the kite back team, whether Seraph's playing a mage or a tank and pulling a Rumble ban or a Maokai ban, then he just plays Ryze instead. It's honestly is some incredible stuff here. Envy, one of the very hottest teams here. Next week, they get a battle for first place against TSM.
That's going to be such a sweet game. 6-0 versus 5-1 currently.
It's going to be beautiful. So before we head back to the analyst desk, let's get an interview with Zyrene and Envy's top laner.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Seraph, top laner of Envy. And Seraph, immediately right off the bat, I got to ask you, because last interview you said, I'm not a top laner yet. So what does it take? Because your champion pool is so diverse. You're a leader for your team. You're winning lane against people like Huni in the top lane. And what does it take? What gets you to that next level to make you that top laner?
Well, I still don't think I'm top tier top laner, and I just more flexible player because I can play whatever my team is wanting. I can play tank, I can play mage, I can play bruiser or something. So I think my most advantage is if my team is play well, then I can play well. But unfortunately, I'm if my team is play bad, I play bad. So I think the reason I have a good state so far because all the other 4 members really good.
All right, and I have to ask you a little bit about that because you guys have only been together for about 4 weeks now. A very young team, and coming into the split, you had some worries about some of your teammates and their experiences, specifically Laud, because he hadn't had really any on-stage experience up to that point where everybody else had. So what are your thoughts on Laud now? They seem to be showing up as a big threat.
Well, like, I think everyone's like, except me, like, including me. I think everyone like worried about Lord because he has like that much experience in LCS, but he's super lucky, I guess, because it takes like 2 years for me like be a consistent player, but Lord is just lucky, but he plays super well on the stage, and he never like shaking hand on stage. He never nervous, and the good thing is like the only one he tilt in scrim or like in LCS, that's he play bad, because he doesn't blame like any teammates. He's super good player, and he's really good attitude too. So I think he has to be more improved.
Awesome. It's great to hear that he has nerves of steel and he's not shaken on stage because a lot of rookies have that problem. Want to ask you, because we talked about 2 years it took you to get to that point. Well, we've seen your development back when you were first introduced to us in NA and CLG, and you've come all the way to here. You've developed as a leader for every team that you've been on, whether it's TDK or Envy. What do you think it takes to be a great leader for an LCS team?
Well, because to be honest, I'm the main shot caller on team right now. So I like usually I decision the like making and like Baron call or something or like objective call, but I still don't think I'm like maybe I'm good captain, but I don't think I'm good leader. I think good leader is Ninja, so I respect him. So that's why one of the reasons why I stay Ninja is because he's good leader, so he can kill me.
That's
not kill me. Kill me.
All right, and final question here, Seraph. Looking forward for Envy's schedule, you have Cloud9 and TSM. Which one are you looking a little more forward to, and what are your thoughts on that matchup?
Well, like two teams are really strong too, because they have advantage each other. Because C9 is I really respect Impact, because so far since I started the league, because Impact was like one of my favorite top laner, and I know he's really good. He's really flexible player. So I always practice like kind of become him. Like so he's my like motive or something. So I think C9 is really difficult, and also like TSM is Hounzer is good, WP is and Bjergsen is like NA Faker. So both team is really strong. So we are gonna keep practicing.
All right. Thank you very much, Sarah, for the interview. Congratulations, and hopefully Envy continues their win streak. Thank you. All right. Now we're going to throw it out over to the analyst desk, and they can close out the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Zyrene. Envy, Seraph there picking up another victory over CLG here. As Zyrene mentioned, this has been a big test for them this weekend as well as next weekend. They're going up against TSM and Cloud9, but they are stepping up. They are showing the larger audience that, no, we deserve this top spot that we earned in the first couple weeks of the split.
Unfortunately, the CLG test was a lot easier than what they had expected, because CLG was just all over the place. They're missing mechanical understanding of their champions, team composition. Like, there's just nothing really stood out for CLG that was like a solid ground to work on. Yesterday they had a solid performance, but today just all fell apart.
Yeah, I mean, like, just so many individual misplays that lead to team problems. If it was just, oh, this one guy did something poorly, but it was everybody at different points just doing something that left you scratching your head.
Definitely some breakdown and some failures on the side of CLG, but turning back towards Envy, I do want to take a look at the composition that they put together in Champion Select, because again, we see a very magic damage heavy composition, however, supplementing it with a Lucian this time around as opposed to the Ezreal, but even so, very few engaged tools and very magic damage heavy.
I was a little concerned about it. I know Crumbs felt a little bit better that they have the Lucian instead of the Ezreal. I still thought it was, it's like not like a super high damage, it's not like bursty, and it's not quite like DPS-y where you have a Cassiopeia or something. So I had some concerns, but they did play it very well. They're level 1, which I think was one of like the big things, was like their Braum Karma level 1 is very strong, and for some reason CLG opted into fighting them, and they got punished really hard for that. So.
Well, a cool thing about that comp, though, even though it only has one source of AD, Karma is essentially the new Lulu of mid laner, just some heavy AP damage that's a little bit of burst with a lot of support for your AD carry. And when it reaches that late game point, Lucian just gets to a point where he's your front line. He's the guy that's just hitting everybody and trying to dodge skill shots. So that composition in the late game is only as good as your Lucian's going to be.
And with that in mind, I mean, Law definitely has been performing. He's played a lot of Lucian, has an extremely good KDA. So, you know, you give him this defensive tool and a karma to kind of run wild, and you know that he's going to do that.
He's been stepping up in a big way, and I know in that interview just there, as Irene asked, you know, as I was talking to Seraph about reservations he may have had previous, you know, to this split, but Laud is stepping up for a guy that has been vocal himself about wanting to prove his value as an LCS player. This is another game, just another example of him doing just that. I want to dive into some gameplay. Let's go 5 minutes in, so not too far, but Envy making a sweet 5-man play on the bot lane to pick up 2 kills, recognizing, although Bard's Flash did just come up, recognizing kind of the lack of summer spells and the mispositioning of CLG.
It's a really nice gank, but the cool thing is with the double TP, that tunnel is essentially the death with It's like, take him with me.
Yeah. That was, Afram was saying, if I'm going down, you're coming with me, Stick say, not intentional.
Yeah,
but,
the Bard.
We don't know that. I mean, we saw a lot of things that we don't know.
That's actually true, sadly. Bard Caitlyn pushed up. They want to do that in that lane versus Braum. Easy to get a TP behind them when they're playing that aggressively, and from there, the game started getting a lot of control before Darshan started bringing it back. And I think this was like my biggest problem with CLG's game was just like, Darshan was in a position to split push carry that game like we'd seen him do, especially yesterday. And then the rest of the team just started dying all over the place on the map. You know, at one point, Darshan was like 3-0-1 or something, and his team had a total of like 9 deaths. It was just like, you guys need to chill out, and they could never do it.
Yeah, like a theme of the day has been teams playing with a 1-4 composition and understanding how to defend and pressure at the same time. But CLG, a team that we'd expect has this down, with Darshan being a known split pusher with a 1-3-1 style that they adopted last play. It's all over. Where is this knowledge?
A month ago, if you had told me that you're forming a new team and you'd like to learn how to 1-4, I would have pointed you to CLG of all the NA teams and be like, okay, go watch their films to figure out how to do it. Not so much the case anymore. I mean, with that TF, with the Caitlyn traps, you'd like to think that we could maybe sit and wave clear with a Hurricane, Caitlyn traps, and TF wildcards, give that Trundle more time to beat out the Rumble in the split push, because we saw that happening towards the late game. We did see that Darshan was able to put the pressure on the side lane.
So I do think that this comes from CLG trying to evolve themselves into understanding the meta, because go back a couple of months and their compositions were all about creating space for Stixxay to really develop himself as a player, with a lot of carry-style champions and not so much with the utility. But now that they're trying to cater away from that and put their playmaking onto the mid lane with the Zillion, with the TF, and then more carry towards the top side of the map, the impact that Stixxay has is just no longer there. Nobody's there to create space for him, and it seems that if the team isn't there to help him out, he seems incapable of creating these opportunities for himself.
Right, I mean, with the TF, you think you can also do a 1-3-1. It doesn't need to be just Darshan. You can have either one of these guys. If they get big, they can be the ones who are really creating all the pressure, but it's only Darshan that gets big, and then the other 4 are they're under a turret, and they're just really far in front of the turret as opposed to focused on wave clearing. That kind of sets up what ends up being the most ridiculous play of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to dive into that. 22 minutes into the game. Beautiful turn by Envy here in what was a very extended kind of engagement. So we're going to miss the first half of it, in which Envy was sieging that second-tier turret. CLG now choosing to chase into it. We just saw he port towards the dragon, and of course Darshan has already TP'd in. Envy smartly realizing in the 4v5 that they should turn, or 4v4 I guess, because Kindred's on her way.
Yeah, I mean, Stixxay has a nice flash there, but Afro just walks a little bit too far forward, gets super chunked out. Now Darshan's just running around as a Trundle trying to stick onto anybody, and can't quite do it.
Didn't die right there.
My favorite thing about all of this is Laud's positioning. He's always just a little bit too far for CLG to engage on them, and the second that the CC comes in, dashes right in and gets the pick. So he's never in a position where he can get jumped on.
We saw the proto belt on the Rumble work.
It's good.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean,
I actually hate that item, but I love that. I love that it snagged a kill.
Hey, it looks pretty flashy there. But yeah, the rest of this play is just, it slowly winds down as they pick up more and more kills. They just keep handing things over. CLG not knowing when enough is enough, back off. Afro's the last one to go down.
One by one, it's like, this isn't a conga line. We got to go in as a team.
Yeah, I mean, but it was the contrast of the team that made the decision together in Envy, right?
Yeah.
4 turns together. They knew their target selection. They played it smartly, even with their low health, right? And you actually look at the stat lines, probably in terms of health and mana and cooldowns between the two teams, you'd look at CLG and say, this team has the advantage. If both teams execute 100% from the given circumstances, CLG probably should have won that.
Yeah.
But they don't.
What I like about Envy is that the mistakes that maybe have even cost them games are just individual mistakes. There hasn't really been a big macro play that they're faltered on, that they get caught out of like that. It's usually individual mistakes, but the way that they win these games out is just as a team. As a team, they know when to turn, what objective to trade on, when to be on the map, and that's a cool thing to see in a team that can win that way.
I'll give you one example of where they lost as a team, and it was against Immortals when they could have just turned and all hit the Nexus to win, or turn and fight
they
to win.
have learned.
And that was going to be my point, is that they lost one time that way, and immediately they know how to make that fix. They win this game off of a similar scenario. Ninja this time focusing the Nexus, making sure they get that win, get that W. They don't care about the kills in that situation. They play it correctly and come out with the victory.
You know, if they didn't do that again, I'm sure the belt would have come out now. Father's Day.
Oh yeah, Coach has some words for you then. All right, well, it's time to move to player of the game. He's going to go to Proxen 7-2 and 9 on that, at least doing just some serious work. I mean, he was massively fed very early on in that game, picking up kills.
Right, he was always in the right lane at the right time. He was able to snowball bot lane. There was a time where they were trying to make a play on a dive that should have worked out, but Seraph had died prior to that, and then he was countering the plays mid. There's a time where, you know, who he ends up using his TP, like a couple units.
Wait, not to begin with the red card gank, which in the first place is like,
that was
no.
unfortunate.
But he does get
Yeah.
a nice flash cocoon onto Smithy there to start turning that, and then I think they pick up Afra on the back end of that play. So he was all over the map, making very influential plays. So I think without him there, the team would have had a harder time getting off the ground.
I think we have to give a nod, tip our hats to Laud, though, as well. You mentioned just in that one play his mechanics, but being that only AD threat on the team, his positioning was fantastic throughout the fight.
Well, it seems like every game he plays, and he's earned himself a tip of the hat because he's had some really solid performances throughout and is a consistent threat for Envy. And that way they can get away with all these AP compositions because you just can't ignore the damage that he's dishing out.
Well, Envy continues to impress as they move to 5-1 on the split. Now that we have finished all of our matches, though, let's see which players have made the biggest impact this week. Picking up 3 Player of the Game awards each this week are Phoenix and Keen, who distinguished themselves in the mid lane. Fellow mids Bjergsen and Pobelter each earned 2 honors, and they are trailed by 14 players who grabbed 1 Player of the Game award each. All right, so that's what they did this week. Let's take a look at how the week 3 changes the Player of the Game leaderboard in total. Teammates Bjergsen and Doublelift are tied at the top with Ninja and Pobelter, who have all been recognized 4 times each. And behind our leaders are a bunch of players who are tied with 3 awards. I mean, so we have tons of players, but I think it's very interesting that this week so many mid laners snagged Player of the Game honors.
Yeah, I think it has to do a little bit with what's been getting through in the draft. We've seen some rises this weekend, which have previously been basically permaban status. All those pretty much popped off. The Vlads were...
The Azirs.
Yeah, the Azirs also. There's been a lot of these players who are getting really strong picks in the meta that previously have been getting banned, and for some reason this weekend they slipped through, and a couple of good Victor performances.
All right, well, there you have it. That's going to do it for Player of the Game for this week. Now let's take a look at how the teams are stacked up after 3 weeks of play. TSM sits atop the ladder in first place with Immortals and Team Envy tied for second. Cloud9 is alone in fourth with Apex and Liquid tied for fifth. And CLG remains in the bottom half of the league, slightly ahead of Energy, EchoFox, and P1. Now that's a lot of action in the weekend, lots of action this weekend rather in the LCS, but there's more coming up in just a few days. Looking ahead to Wednesday, tune into Primetime League at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight and stick around for our coverage of the North American Challenger Series right after that. Then on Thursday, the EU LCS hits your screen at 6 p.m. Central European Summertime, 8 a.m. Pacific with Schalke 04 facing off against G2 Esports to start off the day. And on Friday, the North American LCS returns with a matchup between Counterlogic Gaming and Immortals with our match of the week between Red Hot Envy and undefeated TSM on Sunday. That is going to be a sweet matchup to watch. Preliminary thoughts on that one?
For me, I think it's a little favored towards TSM. But the thing that we are going to look forward to is seeing how Envy actually stacks up against like the super mechanically talented teams. We saw it against Immortals. They actually did fine in the mid and late game where they got a little bit behind initially from that kind of getting out skirmish. They had great picks that led to them getting back into the game, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to pull some of those off against TSM as well.
Yeah, but TSM have looked really solid. I mean, they're closing out games rather quickly, and even though they have a couple of macro mistakes here and there, and even on their own, their macro play is always thinking of what can they get next. Like we saw today with that Baron call after losing a mid inhibitor, which not many teams would have thought about that. And that's really
true.
exceptional.
Yeah.
Like if you can pull something like that, every single game, you're guaranteed to be a very solid contender for first.
And there's just a ton of really good individual matchups in this game. When we go down the roster, I mean, you think of Seraph versus Hanser, like, oof, I can't wait to see that matchup. Proxen now with some of the performances he's put up against Svenskeren. Will anyone be able to deal with the amount of jungle pressure that Sven's able to put on because of Bjergsen having pressure in that mid lane? I think that's possibly the most lopsided matchup, Bjergsen into Ninja.
Right.
And then, of course, you've got those duo bot lanes, right? You have Bjergsen, or you've got Doublelift and Biofrost super aggressive, but Laud playing fantastically so far, and Hakuho right behind him on that. So a lot of interesting lane matchups.
For this series, though, we saw Envy kind of start picking up on the Lucian hype train now that TSM has really spearheaded it so hard. And, you know, I have a feeling that this next week we're going to see a lot more Lucian than a lot of these teams. And I wouldn't be surprised if a series develops to the point of Lucian being a first pick champion, just because it offers such a strong early and mid-game power spike that even if you pick something like a Caitlyn into it, once Lucian hits his first item, that lane is over, and he's just able to take over the map. And it basically shows how strong can your AD carry be on this pick, unlike the likes of a Caitlyn, which is just sit back and hopefully they run into me.
Well, unfortunately, we have to wait an entire week to see this game, but I'll hold out, will you? As we close out the day, let's recap some of the day's incredible steals that you called out with hashtag LCS Big Plays. First up, a tweet from Sia Fawn regarding the Cloud9 Apex series. Sneaky's Elder Dragon steal with the W. Oh my God, let's see that sneaky snipe.
Ray picks his moment, jumps in, goes for the assassination. So much pressure put on Cloud9. They lose to GA.
Oh my God! He stole
the
Elder Dragon!
We're gonna have to fight Baron while they have 5th Dragon. Is that something we can even do?
Oh, nice!
Holy shit. Is that a W? Yeah. Holy shit. All right, go to Dragon. Go to Dragon.
Let's rush Baron.
Holy
Sneaky W.
shit.
This is sneaky W.
I love the whole team's planning. Like, okay, they're gonna get the Elder Dragon. So what are we gonna do? What can we do in face of Elder Dragon? Oh wait, did Sneaky just steal?
I love how they weren't even thinking about his steal. It was just like it's already over. He's not even mentioning that he's going for the steal. It's like surprise. I brought you a gift.
That's totally Sneaky's personality, though. Like quiet until he does something, you know?
Yeah. The saddest thing was just kill that ward, no play of the game. Just kill that little blue trinket ward, and then.
Yeah, no, that hurts if you get that stolen away from you with a Lucian W. Next, though, is from our most recent series between CLG and Envy with a tweet from Lieutenant Smash, who writes, first Sneaky with the Elder Dragon, and now Hakuho with the Baron steal. Let's check out the Stranglethorns.
Now this will be to not only the inhibitor, but also Baron.
It will be almost definitely the Baron. Hakuho wants to be involved in this fight. We've seen steals! Oh, and he gets it! Yes, he does! A Baron for Hakuho.
Nice! Holy shit!
The best thing about that was that fight was so long that we saw him die and walk straight to Baron by himself. And it's like, I'm getting this Baron.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that. I remember, when that replay was like, okay, so 5 seconds till he's up, runs home guards all the way there, boom, steals it, of course. Oh my God.
And the Zyra swag walk out of it, you got to do it.
Yeah,
I mean, at least it wasn't burst from like 87. That was a 200 damage, Zyra ult.
That's
It was,
right.
it was a little bit more understandable.
Don't try to excuse this.
It was a little more understandable. Come on.
Mark's doing work, but no, unfortunately, you can't excuse the miss smite there. And our last submission is also from this series with Pirate Snow tweeting, Xmithie is a god. That's steal. One more Kindred play for the highlight reel. Take a look.
Ninja is not here. The wall comes off. Xmithie wants in for the smite. Gets chased out over the wall. He's got flash to go back in. Oh, it resets. Oh, you've got to be kidding. And they auto attack it down. Xmithie steals away the Elder Dragon.
Jake, can you go for it? Banner going here. Can you jump back in? Back up, back up, back up, back up.
What's it? Nice.
Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. You can take us all, I'll heal you, I'll heal you. You can go for it, you go for it.
With a Hurricane Bolt.
That's why you get Hurricane. That's why you do it.
I like how it's just Afro telling him what to do.
Nobody else is
Smithy says
talking.
nothing. He's like, do I go in, Afro? Yes, go in. Do I leave, Afro? Yes, get out. And it's just,
It's like, I've earned you the Dragon Master.
He's puppeteering
I
from
think
behind the
Afro
wall.
actually just plays all 5.
That'd be amazing. Well, all right, you've seen all 3 of our big steals from today. My question to you, gentlemen, is which one is your biggest LCS play of the day?
I think that CLG one at the end, it was actually pretty well played from Smithy, jumping in, jumping out, getting it. A little lucky with the reset, but it was actually a super critical moment because the other ones, I mean, they did turn the game, the sneaky one, but that one, just seeing that blue trinket ward sit there the whole time,
I don't know. For me, watching a support die in the middle of the fight and walk all the way back onto the entire dead teammate zone and get the steal with the ult, because he just blew everything out. It's like, let's try it.
Well, because, you know, in most situations, too, if you're the support who's rezzing there, you probably go, there's no way I can steal that.
Yeah.
I'll just go do something else on the map.
Exactly.
But he really did make the conscious decision for, like, nah, I'm going to steal this. All right.
I wonder what the comms were like. I got this, guys. Don't worry. Just settle down.
Split decision on the desk in terms of which one's the best, but there is no shortage of LCS big plays this weekend. I'm sure we'll have plenty more next weekend. That's going to do it for our show today, though. So for myself, Mark, Crumbs, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Welcome to the Battle Arena, everybody. We've got our first match coming up right now with undefeated TSM taking on NRG.
GBM's here!
Moving, and GBM has finally arrived. Bjergsen gonna get himself started. Plus gets the kill.
TPing, I'm TPing. I'm going to Nivea. Swaka. Finish on Nivea. Okay, go. I'm on Twitch. Yeah, let's go Twitch. Go blood.
Never move. Flash, but Bjergsen rides in for it. Oh, two! Moves him back, finds another Kiwi kid now. Gonna get slowed up by the Rylars, and Bjergsen! TSM push through. I'm gonna take out the Nexus alone atop the mountain.
Come on, Kate. Okay.
I'm flashing over.
Rumble stun. Nice. Sick ulti.
Much pressure put on Cloud9. They lose to G8.
Oh my God!
He stole it! Are you kidding me?
the Elder Dragon!
Oh, nice.
Oh, shit. Is that a W?
Yeah.
Holy shit. All right, go to Dragon. Go to Dragon.
Let's run. Sneaky W.
He is. Can he get the damage? Which one's he going to pick? Flash. Ray catches up. He dodges back.
Jensen with the outplay on the block.
Cloud9 will take this hard-fought series versus Apex.
Oh no, Keith didn't know where the equalizer came from, and he netted right into Hooney's Flame Spitter. The rest of the team get cleaned up. A great Peppa overrides.
I'm good.
Got Ellie, got
I'm gonna TP him back. Okay. Or holding bot. Hold bot. I think we can end here too.
Really?
Oh yeah, shit. There's two dead.
Oh, Mortals take down Echo Fox 2-0.
Hako wants to be involved in this fight. We've seen steals! Oh, and he gets it! Yes, he does!
Back up.
What's it?
I got it. Back up.
Expect he steals away the Elder Dragon. Goes for the revive on himself, but they're not targeting him. They're just going to take down the Ashe, who he's ult meant nothing. His carries are all dead. Envy's picked up 4. And CLG keep blocking in, saying, please, take more gold, take more kills, have more fantasy points, and Envy take the ace. Stick stays in. They're going to get everybody just in time. No, he got it. And that's the Nexus, the series, the match, and second place for Envy.